Hi, everyone. My name is Ron Bautista. I'm the president of Progressive Democrats of Hudson County. Today, we have a great guest. We have Kaitlin Kehnemuyi. Did I say
Yep.
that correctly?
Yeah.
Great. And so thank you so much for joining us. So just to give a brief intro and just to be accessible, my name is Ron, and I have black hair, short hair, some facial hair as well, thick eyebrows, and brown glasses. Wearing a gray shirt, and also just to give a brief intro on Kaitlin. She works as a librarian at Seton Hall University and understands that the power of information. She's lived in Jersey City for the last decade, and I said, and I think that I see from her bio and from our conversations as a group that the many years that you spent here, that you've been trying to learn and understand local politics, state politics, which has led you also to see that we have a need to increase transparency in government. I've always said that government is not transparent and very obscure on purpose. Intimidating as well, because the political machine wants very specific people to be in power and make the decisions for us. And this is our chance to be at the decision-making table and make sure that we push for this. So Kaitlin is running for Democratic County Committee in Ward E, District 17, seeking to improve police accountability, green spaces, and composting, and accessibility for residents. All right, take it away, Kaitlin.
Hi, my name is Kaitlin Kehnemuyi. I am wearing a black shirt. I have clear glasses on, black hair, and red lipstick. And my shirt, even though you can't say it, says #information, because I was thinking about what was important to me. And really, it comes back to what you said before when you introduced me, is that with accessibility, it's about how do you even find information. I spend a lot of my time working with students who I love working with, but people often assume that the fault is with them when they can't find information, when so often it's because the information is not accessible or presented in a way that is understandable to them. So it's definitely something I've gone in the past. I moved here 10 years ago. I've been an active voter all my life. I care about local politics because that's where so much of our decisions get made and so many things happen. So I went to go look for information, and it was not easy to find. It took me a long time to wrap my head around it, coming from out of state, especially. We just changed from the concept of a freeholder. What does that mean? Who is that? Now it's a county commissioner. That language is more accessible. Accessibility happens on so many levels, and it needs to be thought of with so many different people approaching it. Especially within the government, because we're serving such a wide variety of people that it can't be one size fits all. That's not going to happen.
I completely agree, and this is Ron. Basically, I would always talk about how do we make it more friendly, right? So, and that goes a little bit into the information side too. Yeah. When we make, a website friendly, more user friendly, an app or something. I think government should be more people friendly, right?
Yeah. No, I this is Kaitlin again. I 100% agree, because especially for people who have moved, or transplants, you have to learn a whole new system. So how do you make it so it's easy to learn, it's easy to find, it's easy to contact people, because you want to make sure that your voice is heard and that your concerns are being represented. And not just concerns, because I think that a lot of people have really great ideas. And so it's making sure that they have a venue so that that great idea can be presented. I know I look at, I read different newsletters about city development or urban planning. Weird niche thing, but it has cool projects that are going on in other cities. And it's oh, how would I get that implemented? Who would I even talk to about getting that implemented? And so how do we make it more, I hate to use the word accessible again, but even to be given information or getting information from people in our communities?
Yeah, I think that it's important to provide that feedback and also be able to know who's taking that feedback, right? And I think that comes back to the role of of county committee.
Mhm.
But tell us a bit, about yourself too.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about your family, your neighborhood, your school, your passions. Tell us a bit about. We've heard a bit about your passions and a bit
Yeah.
about like
No,
about you.
I go right there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I moved to Jersey City about 10 years ago. I worked in downtown Jersey City for 5 years before that. I grew up in Maryland, in between DC and Baltimore. I came up to this area for school and stayed because I really like it. My friends are here. My community is here. And my district so it's E17. It is 5th Street to 7th Street between Erie and Coles, and then it's Jersey, 7th and 8th between Jersey and Coles. I think of it as like the L shape in the Tetris thing. That's how I visualize it. Yeah. And it has been really wonderful getting out and canvassing and getting to talk to neighbors. I think especially after the last year, like it was easier to kind of like hide out. But there's so many people that you recognize, like you see on the street, and you know who people are, and you're excited to actually get to talk to them and find out like what are they thinking and what are their concerns and what are they excited about. I know one of my constituents, or one of the people I canvassed, was talking about education and equitable education. And she grew up in the Heights, and you get to learn things about people that are really great, that you wouldn't necessarily, because you're asking questions in a different way, which is really fun. And she's like, how do we make sure that schools in the Heights and downtown are not only like receiving the same funding and same education level, but aren't segregated? I mean, that's a lot of like what's happening, I think, within some of our neighborhoods is like and that affects schools, that they end up being segregated a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I think you make an excellent point, and the constituent that you were talking to, the neighbor that you were talking to, it's a great point. I mean, and you see it, and not just in Jersey City, but in Hudson County overall. You see the patterns not just in schools, but also in transportation and transit, right? And even in transit that is different from the car, right? So either you see the map, and I see this on Twitter a lot. I'm a big bike advocate, and you see on the Heights that there are barely bike stations for City Bike, and then it's like the same. And then you compare it right next to Hoboken, and we're getting 29 bike stations. So there is that disparity, and that's something that we have to address. The bus routes, the train routes, like all of that really translates into how having more voices being channeled in the right direction, then that we are able to push those changes and be more equitable across the board, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think just you get to represent, and you get to talk about more issues. I think that my partner works on Pacific Ave, and his colleagues, like they stopped the bus route there, and so trying to get to work is next to impossible. And it's like, how does that help people? Like, we've just taken away and made their lives harder. Like, we should be figuring out how to make things easier a little bit. That's what the government's here for, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And so we know in terms of, so tell me about a bit about your professional background. We know you're a librarian, but tell us a bit how you came about to that point, and how does that connect with your passions?
So I worked for a long time for a company that builds scenery for television shows, which so if someone stands on it or sings in front of it, that is a company that built it. And it was, built in Hudson County. There's a couple of shops in Hudson County, which is really great. Easy access, to the city, but also there's a bunch of studios in the county as well, which is really nice. And I kind of wanted to transition. And what I liked was I liked helping people. I liked helping people find things. That was a lot of what my job was, I found this random thing on the internet. How can we create it? And I would get to either figure out how they found it, could we buy it? And if we can't, how do we build it? Which led me to librarianship, because it's about helping people. It's about helping people get what they need to succeed. So I went back to school and I did a couple of part-time jobs, which was really great to get experience. And then I ended up full-time at Seton Hall working with, sorry, I got to plug it, access services, which means I work with the people that deal with circulation and book stack maintenance and interlibrary loan. So if we don't have it, we will ask another library to send it to us for you. And I work with a lot of student workers, and it's one of the things that I think was really cool that did happen in the last couple of years was, in a progressive way, we got sick time for part-time workers, which includes student workers. That's an amazing thing to be able to give, like, a student who's on federal work study, say, you can accrue it, you can take it, and you can, like, you're allowed to be sick. What a revolutionary, wonderful thing to start teaching them at such a, like that first job. Like, that's a great thing to have them understand that is part of their right, part of their, what they should expect as an employee, as a worker. But yeah, I think that that policy also points to, like, how oftentimes we're a little behind the ball. Like, we're doing things that other places like New York has done, or Pennsylvania has done, or other areas have done. We're not always putting forth and being the ones that are presenting some of these small but revolutionary ideas, that are really great, can really help people.
Yeah, no, I think that's so interesting. I used to clean homes in order to pay my college tuition back in the day. And something I learned, because a lot of people would be thinking that they could just pay me whatever they wanted, right? And so I was able to really figure it out, and not many people are able to, is figure out how to really show the value of your work. That now we talk about we used to talk about essential workers. I think now we have to retake that conversation of, like, essential workers mean, like, they work hard, and also they deserve to have a living wage. And and we have to understand that not everybody's the same mindset or skill set, or even have heard or mentorship of saying, like, no, let me ask for what I'm actually worth and my work is worth, and for the employer to match it, and also and have those conversations openly. And I feel like students, like, learning that from the beginning will set them up for success once they get out of college and they are able to negotiate a fair salary right out of college. So I think that's so true. That's such a great example.
Hi, sorry, I apologize. I realized I keep forgetting to say this is Kaitlin again. That is my hope. That's how I try to approach talking to them and working with them, because it's about long-term and short-term change. And so long-term change comes from helping empower people for the rest of their lives, or helping them understand how to navigate things for the rest of their life. And even if, sorry, it all ties together in my head. Later, when they have questions, they know that I'm still available to help them, help them navigate those questions. I think that a lot of times in government and jobs and whatever, it goes back to that you're not always able to figure out who to ask those questions to. So I want people to know that I'm available to help them navigate that stuff. I haven't figured out everything on my own. I think that I know lots of people I talk to when I need help. So it's important to pay it forward, pay it back, be involved in those conversations.
Yeah, no, and this really connects well with why you're running for county committee, right? And I think it sounds very similar to what we envision this role being, because a lot of people don't know, like, what a county committee person does, local Democratic Party in their neighborhood, who even is their current representative. And it sounds very similar to the work that you were doing. So, if you want to tell us a bit, although I feel like everything you've spoken about until this point is the why you're running, but if you could tell us more about the reason why you're running for county committee for the local Democratic Party.
Sure. This is Kaitlin again. One of the things I think that I've noticed over the last year, I've thought about running for this position a couple of times, and it was hard to figure out how to get into it. I didn't understand what you did. With the Progressive Democrats of Hudson County, I saw the path, which made it easy for me to understand on what I was supposed to do, which was very helpful. And part of the reason I kept pursuing, or I kept coming back to it, is I want to have a local voice. I want to have a voice in my local government. I think that I want to have the people I'm connected with and the people in my community have a voice in that local government. I think that that hasn't always been apparent, and it's been very, as I've learned more about it, and especially the line, like voting on the line, and how confusing that is and how hard it is, and just having to I'm like, but that I don't understand how that person got here, and I want and so that is what kind of led me to learn about it, but also be interested in it, because I think that it's important to have all the voices you can in the room. If you don't, you're not getting everyone's opinions and everyone's thoughts and everyone's concerns. That's what you have to have. Sometimes when I say those things, it sounds so basic and sounds so simple, and I know that it's not, because those are big ideas, but it sounds like it just should be the thing. Like, yeah, we want everyone to be in this. We want to hear from everyone that's in this county.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. When you think about the way our county government is run, right, and how untouchable they feel in terms of like they can, like, no matter how many people show up to a meeting in something like the ICE contract, and they're like, we don't care, even if it goes against all the values of most of the people in the county, because of like the voting blocks with the Democratic voters and progressive voters, that they say, nope, I'm going to vote however the heck I want. That shows how much breaking that line means, how much education we have to bring up to the voters, and like you said, is having those conversations, because again, just to clarify with everyone, in this primary on June 8th, everybody on the ballot for the Democratic primary is a Democrat. So, even if you see a long line of Democrats, just remember, everybody in that ballot is a Democrat. So look it up, look who the candidate is, search for Progressive Democrats of Hudson County, search for Kaitlin. And Kaitlin, if you have any last words before we, just to wrap up.
Yeah, this is Kaitlin again. The ICE contract was a big part of it, because I remember going to Jersey City for the city council meeting when we declared ourselves a sanctuary city, and how engaged and how happy and how excited people were. And then to a couple years later, fast forward, and have that contract renewed when so many people were speaking against it, was a real heartbreak. And I was like, that's not how my government works. My government's not here to break my heart. And I think that I'm really excited to be on, running with the Progressive Democrats of Hudson County. I think it's a really great group. It's a really supportive group and a really accessible group, which makes me happy.
Thank you so much, Kaitlin. Kaitlin Kehnemuyi. And please vote June 8th, and we'll be in touch with more conversations with the candidates. Thank you, Kaitlin. Yeah.
I was going to say, you're not getting your ballot. It's Kaitlin. You're not getting your ballot in the mail automatically. If you need a mail-in ballot, you have to request one. Otherwise, it's in-person voting. I know we all got used to last time.
No, perfect comment. Thank you so much. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.